Yep. All right, ready?
Yeah, man.
No one answered me. So who's hosting?
All right.
Jono.
I'm about to start. You guys keep cutting in, man. Motherfuckers. Just
Well, thanks for letting us know you're gonna do that.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the NiNe Show.
Where would this take them? Where is this current feeling or value set going to take them in the future?
Like
No.
polar opposites. Like you're going that way, I'm going this way.
I mean this very literally. There's no emotion. And how I did that, for me, it's just pure efficacy of recall.
Like that sometimes, like, oh, I have to human. I think that's the NI as opposed to NE that just wants to see it in its totality, right?
Common point of, what was that word you used, Jono?
What? What the f? Yo, what
Eddie.
the fuck? Okay, go on, go. Let's
Dude, I
go.
had a friend who listened to-
I will chew you.
All right.
Good morning, good night, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the NiNe Show. We are 4 intuitive dominant types: ENTP, ENFP, INFJ, INTJ. It is our goal to educate you on the objective personality system and typology, as well as explaining new ideas, theories with you, and yes, theories with you, the awesome audience. We love you because you're awesome. We love you because we are so tribe above self, you don't even know. Anyway, today in the land of chaos, we will be discussing FE, masculine and feminine. FE. What's masculine and feminine FE? Well, we have a beautiful tribe of people before you to describe the differences of FE, masculine and feminine. But before we get into that, let's go through the definition of FE. The function FE, extroverted feeling, focuses on what people like, focuses on what people value, and prioritizes it over the identity of the FE user themselves. Today, we have some clips to show you guys. We're going to provide some examples of some feminine FE and masculine FE users in their demon and savior states, respectively. So, boys, are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready? Yeah. All right. What are we starting with? Masculine FE.
Yeah, we'll start with masculine FE.
Masculino FE.
Yeah.
In a savior state.
Odin, we're gonna share your screen and I'll just start talking.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, for sure. So I found a clip of Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk, for those that don't know, was officially typed by OPS as double masculine FE, SE, play, blast, consume, and sleep last. So we have a clip where Gary is in front of an audience and he's giving a talk. And in this part of the talk, he's kind of going on a little rant about culture. And culture is pretty much his main focus in his business, and he's not very movable on it. I think masculine FE, especially as a savior, kind of enforces culture on people to a degree. And he's really intense when it comes to the values of the people in his company. Right. He even says at the end of the clip that people should go home and get in tune with their feelings, and he like pounds his chest as he's saying it. But it's like a message to the savior thinkers that don't have his saviors. He's like, boom, go get in touch with your feelings. Like, stop being an idiot. But yeah. So if we can get that clip rolling, we're gonna share that with you.
I highly recommend. How many people here have a company with more than 10 people? Raise your hand. I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you take anything away from my talk, fuck voice, fuck fucking arbitrage, take this one thing away from me. You better go home and audit every single employee you have, and you better figure out which employee makes the other employees miserable. I don't give a shit if it's your number one salesperson, your best fucking developer, or your co-founder. Cancer spreads. With cancer and politics comes lack of speed. Your company will get much slower because people are sitting around debating how miserable they are or worried to have meetings with other individuals. Your company will get slow in a world where the speed of product output, features, and how you interact with your customers has never been greater. So I implore a tech-centric, financial-centric, type A room like this to go home and get really in tune with their fucking feelings.
Mic drop. Yeah, the end.
Gold.
Yeah.
Just smashing people. Do it. Just do the values.
Yeah, he literally said, "You better do this. Like, you better make sure that you find the one that's screwing up everything and ruining the culture."
Yeah.
And
That
for
was,
those, sorry, for those observers out there, those captions were not correct. That's we just gotta point it out. Like,
yeah, don't,
sorry about
yeah.
that.
Yeah. If
Don't
you
worry
have
about
SI, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, that was a great example of masculine FE. It's just like, masculine FE, it's so grounded in the feelings. It's less likely to want to be interchangeable with the feelings. It's not like you don't know where they stand. Like, where the person stands and where they want you to go, and it just, yeah. And it kind of also, there's an aspect of it that wasn't reflected in that speech where masculine FE can also be a strategy to protect the feminine TI. So
Absolutely.
there's some examples, like one in my head is like Chael Sonnen. He always calls people dummies and stuff. So at times the masculine FEs can actually seem maybe hard-headed at times if they're trying to protect that TI. Like, in terms of the logic, like they'll appear really confident, and that's what masculine FE is. It's confidence. It's like, you're gonna believe in me, like, regardless of whether the logic lies, you're gonna believe that it does. It's that kind of supreme confidence. That's how I kind of notice it anyways. So yeah, at times it can work that way.
I was gonna kind of add to that, like, from just comparing Gary's masculine FE to like Tony Robbins' masculine TE. It's just interesting how, like, when they're next to each other, like, we don't have this clip set up yet, but like when they're next to each other in the interview with Gary and Tony, you can kind of see Gary's emotional stability where he's like, yeah, like, this is the appropriate feeling, that's the appropriate feeling for this. But then Tony's like laughing inappropriately, like, like changing so like quickly, and he's like getting all intense. It's just so weird. But that masculine FE is not like, it's not moving in any it's not tempted to move into an inappropriate space with its emotions. I find that really interesting, actually. I just kind of noticed it right now after watching this and like thinking about Tony.
Mr. Tony.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'd say the main things to pick up from this one were FE culture. Culture is a big thing with FE. So it's feelings on a spectrum. So culture is a big part of that. And the assertion, the force that it's presented with, and it's almost abrasive. It can be abrasive sometimes, but it's assertive at the very least, and that's what it is. Compare that to maybe the paragon of FE, Oprah, right? she's not masculine FE, she's feminine FE, but you could tell that they're both FE. It's just when people think FE, stereotypically, it's not masculine. It's just it's more feminine. People think caring is more motherly. But there is this other masculine side that also needs to be described.
Also,
that's what we take from this clip. We do have some more though.
Yeah,
I had a quick side tangent. This is more like theoretical talk. I remember, like, we had a conversation, me, Asees, and Jono. We were talking about my NI and then Asees's NE, and how I struggled with a situation where I didn't want to explore how to fix a problem outside what I knew. And then Asees was just like, I have no problems, with NE, right? And Jono was just coming in and he was saying, I tend to need to separate, like, when I'm doing NE, I can't just dive into something and just do NE, because like I might get overwhelmed and then I need to calm myself down and do the SI. It's like those things are separate. So the conclusion of that conversation was the masculine NE kind of incorporates the SI within it. So it doesn't even need to pull in SI. It just does everything, the masculine NE, whereas the feminine function is more divided from its opposite. It's like the NE does only what NE does when it's feminine, and then it needs to call SI. So one thing with like the masculine FE is kind of like what I was saying with the logic. It's like the masculine FE is taking responsibility for everything that makes sense, everything. It's like this, I'm in charge of everything. When it's the feminine FE, the reason why it's like you point it out as the typical FE is because it's just doing FE. It's not trying to take care of the logic as well. Like it doesn't aggressively consume everything. It's just caring about the feelings. It's like separate from the TI. I don't know. That's just a theory. That was just me making sense of the
That's
past
an interesting
conversation.
theory. I'd like to dive
So,
into that.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to say something real quick. So to transition, Asees was talking about FE being abrasive, and I think it's even like it's more like it's interesting how we're about to go into the demon FE and how that one seems more abrasive, but it's just not as often engaging with the people usually, you know, because it's saver TI, like, oh, I'm working on my own thing, you know, you get over here. But then when it is working with the people, it's really aggressively imbalanced and it's forcing that culture. So we do have a clip of Conor McGregor, but we're going to show you the savior feminine TI first, so you can have like a contrast from the feminine TI to the masculine demon FE. So let's go with the second video here, Odom.
Okay.
We can do the other one. I think the other one's a little bit, it's less subtle.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, with feminine TI, it seems like it would be subtle though, because it's like thinking, so it's like a little bit disconnected from the feeling, but it's like whooshy.
To do every single day.
Are you worried it's too late?
I mean, I don't feel. Look, I don't know, Ariel. I'm just gonna carry on being. I know who I am as a human being. My people know who I am as a human being, and what kind of father I am, what kind of son I am, what kind of brother I am, what kind of friend I am. And that's it. I will continue to just be good as a human being and not focus on, not worry too much about that. If it is, it is. But I do not believe so. I will earn it back. I'm eager to compete, Ariel. I have not spoke to you in how long? Why? Why not? Like it's like I've been outlawed from the game or something. Like what? I have a lot to say. My coach has been online. Like, there's been many interviews. You know, I've studied every single scenario that's happened to me. I've studied every single scenario that's happened in the game. I'm eager to come back here. So we will see what will happen in the future. But I'm going in confident with a lot of knowledge gained about myself, about my skill set, about my mindset. And I look forward to implementing them and getting back on track. Look at Nate Diaz, last fight 3 years ago, defeated by me, came back and won. And it was a motivating experience to me. Look at Stipe Miocic, came back after a knockout loss, won his title back against the man that knocked him out. There's so many stories of this over and over again, and mine is going to be the greatest one of all, and that's what I am aiming for. So even Uriah Faber.
Yeah, so we definitely have to go into that a little more. So Conor McGregor is he was typed by David Shan. He didn't do a class on him, but they typed him as double masculine, TISE, consume, play, sleep, blast, last. So he's kind of going over like his experience and like what he's been learning. So he's sharing the consume, the TI, the SE, like, oh, I learned this, and he's with the facts leading up to these skills that I'm learning. But you can tell that he's like, I'm not understanding your guys' logic here. Like, I did all this. My people know who I am. And then he's kind of like you could tell he's getting like worked up, even though it's like him talking about his identity. And he's like, why are you not talking to me? Why is this happening? Like, this is not how the culture of the UFC is supposed to be. Like, and he's like kind of trying not to punch at them because he's kind of in the wrong right now. And he knows that.
whenever he talks about himself, he talks about it in a feminine way. Like when he was talking about like, well, I'm just gonna do what I know myself, but he said it in a very hesitant, feminine way. It wasn't like punchy, like I know who I am. It's more like, you know, I don't know. Like that was yeah.
Is there a bit of missing context here? Like what was he done wrong?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So the question he was this other interviewer, Ariel Hawani, he gets really like, I think, a little bit invasive, and he's trying to get Connor to talk about something he doesn't want to talk about because he had just got in trouble for striking an old man at a bar and for grabbing the phone of a fan that was recording him or something, and he threw the phone and broke it. The guy, like, you know, charged, well, he dropped charges later, but, you know, he was arrested for that. So the interviewer's like, are you worried that the tribe is like not going to give you another chance? Are you worried that it's too late for you to make a comeback in the UFC and, you know, make things right with your fans? So it's kind of like a feeling question. Like, are you worried? Like, how's the tribe going to react to you? And then he's just like, my identity, my identity. And you guys are bullying me. And, you know, so we can head over to the demon FE kind of freak out he has next, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So that we're just showing you the Saber TI versus demon FE in contrast.
Loyalty.
Sorry, it lags whenever I open it up and pause it. Yeah, I'll play it now.
Loyalty, that's the sign of a world champion. That's a sign of a world champion. Loyalty is a strong thing for me, and I respect loyalty a lot. But I absolutely despise people who are disloyal, people who bite the hand that feeds them. I cannot relate to that in any way, shape, or form. I certainly feel TJ is a little snake in the grass. You know, he's in here for his own benefit. So I simply told that to him, and I mean, the truth can hurt.
That's why I can't let you sit and talk about TJ without saying something, cuz boy, that's loyalty.
What, you gonna do something about it? What are you gonna do? Do something then. Do something then, do something then, Phil.
Yeah, and that is a demon FE swing. So I'll let somebody else speak. Anybody notice anything about that?
Yeah, I think it was interesting. You mentioned about how, like, you know, we were talking about his identity and him being pushed on, and he definitely has a strong belief in his loyalty thing that he was talking about. That's like he's all in on that one kind of point, and if someone's going to like push that, it's gonna like really trigger him into that, you know, that demon tribe swing, and it's like, oh, fuck you, you're just gonna, you know,
yeah, exactly.
It's like a culture-based proposition. He's like this is what makes us like a good group. Like my camp practices loyalty. Good, like as a value, loyalty is what makes you kind of good. And if you don't practice loyalty, like you're devalued. You know, it's a very culture view of things. Like that's what makes a good culture, according to him. It's like loyalty is what you need.
So for those that don't know this specific scene, like some context, Conor McGregor is on the Ultimate Fighter TV show where he's basically a coach for a team of fighters, and he has an opposing team with a coach and a team of fighters. And so in this context, what he's doing is he's trying to also establish superiority there, like my DI versus your like DI, my team and our values versus your team and their values. So there was a story about the other team's coach having someone that he used to train become the champion, but he ended up leaving that camp. And there was a lot of drama between them. And Conor somehow found out and was pushing on him like, hey, like you don't get your team in check. Like your team doesn't have loyalty. Like this guy's a snake in the grass and now he's beating you. You know, he's more popular than you and more this and that. So he's kind of like poking at him like, oh, my team doesn't do that. Like we're superior. So he's doing it for the sake of his TI, like his identity, and to impose that on his rivals. And because they disagreed and they were like, nah, TJ's our boy. Like this guy, he's part of our team. Like you don't even know our situation. Then Conor was a little flustered and he's like, okay, well, you're going against my identity. Then I will like make you feel bad. and that's exactly what led to the fight.
Yeah.
Talking smack.
He was talking so much smack, like just completely like it was just masculine FE. Like
Yeah.
what you're doing is bad. You guys have bad standards, terrible. Like
Yeah. And when you're under stress and when you're under that kind of pressure and you just want to break, it's like that's when the masculine functions come out. And his masculine play, he's like SE, FE, just like want to push physically on the people.
Yeah, feminine DE is not going around starting fights.
No.
Yeah, as you can tell, like from contrast, his if you wanted to look up Uriah Faber and their kind of moments together, it was always Uriah just playing cat energy game. Like,
Uriah is so feminine DE, dude. Like even his face, he's like smiling. I'm gonna try find him. How do you spell it?
The feminine Ds will attract the fights, but they won't start them.
Yeah, and it's funny because I did find a clip where Connor was saying that him and Uriah became friends. They were like frenemies, because he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let you win," but he actually kind of liked Uriah because he would play that game, talking smack. Like he'd be like, "Oh, nice belt. Where'd you get it? You killed a snake for that one too." And whatever, he's like, not as bad as your snake in the grass of a teammate, or so they would like jab at each other. But Uriah was never like,
he's
like,
always
I hate you.
Yeah, like even when there was like awkward tensions behind them, like he would just be smiling, like he would never like react. It was always cat energy.
Look at that handsome Cali boy.
So yeah, it was a good mix. I guess we can move on to feminine FE now. Those are two examples of masculine savior FE and masculine demon FE. But yeah, I'm gonna start with savior feminine FE. I'm gonna use Will Smith as the example. He's officially typed MF FE play blast consume, and he's pretty alpha in general. So I guess I'm gonna just first show you a baseline of his FE. Like you'll get like a clear view of where his motivation for FE comes from. He'll explain a story, but we all know that it's just his saviors pretty much. And just some context. In this clip, he's talking about when he moved to a new school in 9th grade. He got into an altercation with a kid. He was just getting kind of witty with the kid.
Altercation.
He was getting kind of witty because the kid was trying to undermine him. He's the new kid. And later on in the day, the kid actually punched him with a lock around his hand. And Will obviously he got knocked out, and he told like the principal like, "Oh yeah, I got knocked out by this kid," and that person got taken away by the cops. And this is him talking about how he feels about the aftermath of that happening. It's quite interesting.
Nice. Me and I'm telling the story now. The police are there, and
Let me check the speed.
I remember I saw this kid.
Sorry?
Can you just check the speed real quick? Because it sounds really slow. Oh, it's normal. Okay.
1.5?
Leon,
not that's too fast.
1.5, everyone.
That's too fast. Yeah. Try that.
Demon continue.
It sounds high.
All right. I'll play it now.
Police are there, and I remember I saw this kid. They put him in handcuffs and took him out of the school. And I'm sitting in the principal's office, and I'm watching the police take him out and put him in the back of a police car. And I just couldn't believe it had escalated to a kid being removed from school. And I was laying in my bed that night, and I was just feeling like shit. And I had the recognition that I had caused this kid to throw his life away, right? And he was kicked out of school, and I never knew what happened to him, but I have a sense that it didn't go well beyond there. And I felt a deep sense of regret and a deep sense that I had caused an emotion in a person that made them do that. And that feeling of regret turned into a sort of a fear of how much power I had. And I was like, everything I say and do has that kind of effect on other human beings. And in that moment, I decided that I would never walk into a room and do anything other than inspire and uplift and enlighten people and help people to be the greater versions of themselves. And I would never do anything that would cause people to rile up the darkest, dirtiest parts of people. I only wanted to enliven and enlighten and inspire. And I remember laying in my bed that night, and I made that promise to myself, and I made that promise to God. And it's something that has completely shaped how I approach people, how I approach moments, how I walk into rooms, how I deal with every human being on this earth. To him and
Yeah, so that's
great. What an alpha.
yeah,
Alpha mindset.
yeah, man. That's Savior Effie. Like, obviously he had a story behind it, but like, unless you like, it's also the fact that he had Effie, that he saw that situation in that way. So it's not just that happened. So yeah, that's a baseline of his natural Effie motivations. And I guess in the next clip, it's gonna look at him being more alpha, because it's more about, it's going to be more about his DI.
Just before you jump into that, so I was thinking about, like, you know, feminine DE, and I was just thinking about Will Smith's situation when he was in school, and the fact that that happened. You know, he was provoking this kid, and I think the difference is between like a masculine FE and a feminine FE. That the feminine FE is more just wants to like kind of dance around the person and just like, you know, just put a bit of like feelings on them like this, instead of like, you know, like that's Gary V pushing on them. It's just like just throwing a bit of stuff on them, and then, you know, just kind of walking away and just like
it
what I mean.
That's exactly what happened, because in the school, the kid that was undermining him was like, nobody cares that you're here, because he was a new kid,
right?
And then he said, oh, just give me 10 minutes, your girl's gonna care. Like, it was just like a playful, like, you know, just messing around. And then that was later on that he got hit for that.
That masculine TI is like, he knows exactly like where to push and where to.
I do want to. I want to compare that real quick also, for like me being Savior DI. I have been in situations like that very often as a double masculine and a DI. And whenever somebody would fight me, it's kind of like, okay, I have permission to beat your ass. You know, like that's how I'm looking at it. Like, oh, if it's me versus you, I'm not losing, and I will knock some sense into you with my masculine TE and my SE.
I'm more like, yo, how can I get out of this? I can't be honest.
Well, like, I mean, I started changing my perspective, but that's my first instinct. Like, oh, you better not come close, man. Like, you know, Chael Sonnen even did that with his masculine FE versus Vanderlei Silva. Man, you know what? We should even play that one. But maybe. Yeah, he like pushed Vanderlei because he kept approaching him, and he goes, I can't let you get close. And he pushed him. And he's like, don't do it. Like, I'll hurt you.
Yeah. You're like ready to go. Like, if you need to, you can. Yeah. I get that. So yo, this next clip of Will, it's more of an alpha expression of FE. Just to give some context, I think he'll pretty much explain it anyways, but it's just about him bringing Jada into his DI world, but it's for the sake of FE. It has a FE, so he's bringing in the DI with the FE, so you get to see the alpha aspect of FE here. So yeah, I'll play it.
Woo child. After Sharif filed for divorce from Will Smith moved on to Jada. And of course, they were in love. However, they did have their ups and downs, and they did have their disagreements. Now, Will talked about one disagreement they had in front of a group of friends. Jada cursed him out, and he bopped her on the head with a newspaper and brought her to the back room and set her straight. Now, I know some people are thinking, what? That sounds abusive. However, that's not the type of relationship Will and Jada had.
She cursed at me in front of 20 people at this party. She's like, Will, would you shut the up?
Ooh.
With Trey sitting on my lap. And I grabbed a newspaper and I said, bah! Can I talk to you in the other room, please?
And I was like, this joker just hit me on my head with a newspaper?
We went in the other room, and I said, Jada, this is the deal. I grew up in a household where I watched my father punch my mother in the face. I will not create a space, an interaction with a person where there's profanity and violence. If you have to talk to me like that, we can't be together.
Wow.
We're not going to use any profanity in our interactions. We're not going to raise our voice. We're not going to be violent. I can't do it.
Yeah.
She was like, you're not going to be hitting me in my head. I said, get out. She was like, wait, so you would break up with me over some words? I was like, yeah, I just did. I was like, we're not cursing.
Damn.
And her eyes welled up with tears. And she was like, okay, we didn't use any profanity, any argument. We never raised our voices. We took communication courses, all of that, and never had violence. We never really raised our voices.
Yeah, so that's like it's he's making his stand. It's for the sake of Effie in that he wants an uplifting, positive environment, but it's based on his DI now because he's saying this is where I stand. Like if you're not standing where I stand, then exactly, yeah. So that's the deciders coming together there. So that's Effie when it's in kind of it's full blown. You know, it's come together with its TI. So
I want to point out his language in comparison to Gary being savior masculine FE. So like even though he is audio and he like masculine sensory like actually bopped her on the head, he hit her with a newspaper, which is soft. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna like knock your head off.
It was a bop, a bop.
Yeah,
it was
and,
for attention. It wasn't
exactly
her ass.
and then he literally said, can I talk to you in the other room, please? With a smile on his face, at least in that video. But like, can I talk to you in the other room, please? Like versus, okay, follow me, or like you're coming this way, or like we need to talk. You know, he's like, can I do the? Can we talk over there? And then he's like, okay, here's my DI now. Like in private,
doesn't
like
want to disturb the dynamics of the people around. Just like come in very feminine.
Yeah, and then he said, if you can't do this, then I can't do this.
Yeah,
like,
he was like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
like,
but like you can tell the amount of energy that was put into the masculine DI versus the feminine. Like it was kind of like, okay, let me soften this up with the FE, and then like boom, some intensity. Yeah, exactly.
For real. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So, any other thoughts?
Her face the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, I was laughing. I can't watch that clip without laughing. Her face, dude.
Masculine FI, right?
It has to be something.
Yeah,
something.
That's masculine's feeling something for sure. That swearing, Dave and Shan, they said something about masculine feeling is more likely to swear or whatever. I'm not sure how true that is. There's so many variables, but
fuck you.
Yeah, anecdotally. All right, so how about we move on to the demon feminine FE?
Yeah.
So
Elon.
Yeah, we have some clips of Elon Musk officially typed double feminine TI SI sleep consume play blast. So first we're going to show you the masculine TI in the savior state of Elon Musk so we can compare it to the demon feminine FE swing. So in the first clip, he's basically going to be like talking about his learning style. The interviewer asked him something about how can we basically be as smart as you? Like, what's your system of learning and stuff? And so Elon's just gonna like, oh, well, this is how I do things. TI, this is how I do things. So,
all right, I'll play it now.
Amazing what you've done. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Well, I think I do think there's a good framework for thinking. It is physics. The sort of first principles reasoning. I mean, generally, I think there are. What I mean by that is. Boil things down to their fundamental truths and reason up from there, as opposed to reasoning by analogy. Through most of our life, we get through life by reasoning by analogy, which essentially means kind of copying what other people do with slight variations. And you have to do that, otherwise it's mentally you wouldn't be able to get through the day. But when you want to do something new, you have to You have to apply the physics approach. Physics has really sort of figured out how to discover new things that are counterintuitive, like quantum mechanics. It's really counterintuitive. So I think that's an important thing to do. And then also to really pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. This may sound like sort of simple advice, but it's hardly anyone does that, and it's incredibly helpful.
Boys and girls watching, study physics. Learn from this man. Elon Musk, I wish we had...
Alrighty, so what are your thoughts on that? Just masculine saver TI, this is how I do things, seems simple. He said something about like break it down, or like whatever he said was like something about breaking down the logic, and like
it makes sense. It's like first principles. So it's like when you have a problem with something, sometimes there are solutions that you can't see because you've built up your framework of understanding to the point that you can't see solutions. So if you simplify it to like the core thing about it, you can like work out solutions more open-mindedly, because when you make something simple, you can branch out wherever. So I've tried to apply that. Like I heard him say this somewhere else a long time ago, and I think it's cool. Aside, I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he talks about like the analogy versus like the macro understanding of the thing. You know, he's like, don't just take the analogy and try to work with that. He's like, break that. This is very NF, but it's like break down that concept or thing that you've found somewhere else, and just like, you know, at a macro level, try to make sure it actually, you know, is correct and accurate before, you know, applying the thing.
Yeah, well, he's also TISI, so he's gonna be like, you know what, the analogy stuff's cool, but like you gotta like really systematize this in reality, make sure that the numbers are right, like you understand everything step by step, and then you can connect it to other stuff later. So that's part of it, like TISI. And I think it's funny how Odin was like, oh yeah, this is like, you know, really like basic, like I get it, like, but I don't get what he's talking about, honestly.
Yeah, not a lot of FE in this clip, or like not a great example of how we can.
Yeah, this is just his savior state.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're moving on to the feminine FE demon now.
Yeah, go on. Go say it's Sorry, I had a last moment. Sorry. Go ahead and say what you wanted to say. That's
no,
what
I said you were gonna say something.
Oh yeah. What was I gonna say? The reason, when he was talking about reasoning by analogies versus I can't remember what other term he used. It's because you assume things that you don't think about. Like 99% of how you act is based on assumptions. It's like, oh, you know, if I take the car is safer than, I mean, riding a bike is less safe than driving a car or something. Like that's like an assumption, or like it doesn't matter, forget it. It doesn't matter. Don't worry. I was gonna make a point like about psychology, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, let's go into let's go into him going into a demon state.
People who've been in the rocketry business for decades, who say about you that you don't know what you don't know.
Well, I suppose that's true of anyone. How can anyone know what they don't know?
But when critics say you can't do this, your answer to them is,
we've done it.
He's done it in partnership with NASA, which has given SpaceX technical advice and a contract worth up to $1.6 billion, mostly for 12 cargo flights to the space station. But SpaceX's lack of experience bothers some NASA legends like Apollo astronauts Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan. They've testified to Congress that the Obama administration's drive to commercialize space could compromise safety and eventually cost the taxpayers.
Now is the time to overrule this administration's pledge to mediocrity.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. You know, I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Did you expect them to cheer you on?
So they're hoping they would.
What are you trying to prove to them?
What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight and help make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. And I would hope for as much support in that direction as we can receive.
Poor Elon.
Sorry. Of space. Tomorrow morning, a company called SpaceX.
Sorry.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that one was
Erected rocket.
yeah.
Yeah. So poor Elon, huh? It's like he's
Yeah.
going all in his direction. He's like got this plan. He's got this this idea, this point, and the tribe is don't agree with it. And it's obviously it's upset him because it is Neil Armstrong and the other dude is like people that he really looks up to, and he really obviously cares about them.
Yeah, and
this decider.
and you can really tell that he was trying to shove those feelings away, but like it's like creeping up on him. Like he's just feeling this, and he's like, no, I'm in an interview. Let me just throw my TI, see if that'll save me right now. And it's like you just can't stop it completely.
Yeah, like the difference.
Feelings.
Yeah, for real. It's annoying, eh? Like me and Leon both have feminine feelings.
Yeah.
And
this is a very similar type to him, just the observer version, and Lee consume rather than sleep. So I'm curious as to like what you think, like what's going through his mind there when he's getting emotional, welling up.
So because what happened was that because there was an internal conflict, right? So like people that you look up to, right? Your DI isn't just you, it's how you construct your conception of who you are. It's your ego basically. And so when there's some sort of incongruence there, and especially when it's not just incongruence, there's opposition, you're fighting with yourself basically. And so that's what was happening. There were people, he didn't really know them personally, but what they represented, he took that personally and he used that it was some sort of fundamental part of his ego that, these people did these things and I want to be like them. I want to inspire people and whatever. And with that, when they were going like that, it's like that part of him had to die. And that's what was happening.
That sounds intense.
And the worst thing because the difference as well between demon masculine FE and then demon feminine FE is that it's like the feminine FE wants to be appreciated. It's not gonna shove the value. It wants its own work to be valued. So it's when that's missing, it's a very painful thing.
Yeah, would you say that it's like I demand respect versus I crave appreciation? Is it something like that?
Yeah, like you've worked so hard on yourself and then you're like, oh, look at this, and they're like, don't want that. And it's very like there's nothing you can do because it's a feminine FE. It's like you want it to work out by itself. You can't, you don't have any control in making other people like it. Whereas the masculine FE is like, I can push on you what is valuable, So yeah, it's you feel very helpless in that kind of way. So yeah, I can imagine that kind of sucks for him.
Cool. Do you guys have any final thoughts on that one?
It sucks. That's I think it. Yeah.
Yeah. Poor dude.
I hope they take him up on that offer and they actually go check it out. That would be nice of them.
Dude, I felt moved by that too. Actually.
Yeah.
Like I've had stuff like that happen to me. But it's probably not as extreme because I was like punching
we're
somebody.
all DI. I'm sure we've all had some kind of thing like that happen.
Yeah, pretty sure. I would like to really hear from the audience in the comments, like how they like this structure of doing things. Maybe we'll do more things like this in the future to give more clear-cut examples between each of the functions and personality types. Yeah, so let us know, everyone.
All right. So to summarize, guys, we talked about FE, the masculine and feminine variants. We obviously gave some examples, as Leon said. That's it for this episode. So, guys, like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, check out our Facebook page, check out our Instagram page. Shout out to Leon. He's been doing a lot of raps lately and, just getting his creativity vibes on and, like, posting stuff on our Instagram page. So if you guys are into music and rapping, please check that out. Give him some validation. Nah, he loves the feedback. We all love feedback. So Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll catch you on the next week episode.
The next strong episode.
FI. Is the next one.
That's right.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be so interesting. All right. Peace out, guys.